Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much for joining us, however you're picking us up. Hopefully it's on the broadcast or the podcast or the stream or the video or however, whatever, but at least you're hearing our voice, and our guests and our subject matter experts are the bomb, and we love them so much. Last week, Professor, like to call him Professor, he's adjunct faculty, Rob Helm was here talking about skilled trades in mid-Michigan and at Lansing Community College. Big topic. We could talk this topic today with my guest, but we're not, because he's got expertise in a lot of different areas of his life. My guest today, my very good friend, one of my best friends in the whole wide world, Doug, don't call me a hunter, Resseguie. He's the man. He's the subject matter expert for for hunter non-hunter. And we've talked about this before, because this is Doug's 13th visit to our radio program. Today, walleye and whitetail wisdom with our avid or outdoorsman who adores hunting, loves hunting, fishing, camping, everything outdoors. That's Doug. Okay. He's got a Bachelor of Science in Organizational Development. Very smart man. He's got a Master's Business Administration, which is an MBA, which means he's another really smart guy in strategic leadership. And he is, and I'm so proud to say this, on the very close end of finishing his PhD in educational and organizational leadership. Little round of applause for my man, my brother from another mother. I want to welcome back to the radio program this guy that's married and father of 5 children. My very good friend. I can't say enough about this guy, Doug Hunter Resseguie. What's going on, Doug?
Not a lot, Tom. With an intro like that, you definitely should write some marketing ads, because you've made me sound a lot more amazing than I think that I am. But I'm willing to talk about whitetails. I'm willing to talk about walleye and other things like that. So
I'm trying to figure out how you tie in the walleye whitetail wisdom together. But you know what you're doing here, being your 13th visit here. How do you like being the subject matter expert for the hunter non-hunter episodes of the Tom Matt Show?
I would say that all people who hunt and fish enjoy sitting around a campfire and telling stories, and I tell stories. I can tell you about things. And so I enjoy that. If we had a nice toasty campfire here and we were sitting at like 10,000 feet in the Rocky Mountains waiting to go elk hunting here, that'd be fun as well. But, we're going to do it right here online. And I think there's a lot of people that miss having those stories. I don't know how many people have friends that have the same likes, but for people who like those things, we'll hopefully share some good information for them here.
All right. So if you're like me, you guys, we can live vicariously through our friends and through all of their learned experiences, or we can go out and do it with them. And he's still angling to get me to go with him, although I think he's in for a kind of a rough time with me. But here are some of the previous shows of the 12 episodes that Doug's been on here. There's just a couple of things that you can find if you go on our website, tommattshow.com, sharing out. This is just kind of the theme of what Doug does here with our hunter non-hunter. In today's episode, we're calling walleye and whitetail wisdom. But here are some of the previous episodes. So if you want to go back and check off your hunter non-hunter person, go for it. Sharing outdoor traditions. These are all excellent episodes, by the way. Inner peace through nature's classroom. That was a good one. Renewing our spirit and balance. Those are just a few of the dozen or so that we have on our website. Before we get rolling on all of this, Doug, catch everybody up on you, the fam, whatever, however, how are the grandchildren? Brag on them. I love bragging on my grandchildren. They're wonderful. They teach us a lot. Even at their young age, they teach us so much. Go right ahead, please.
I mean, I'm blessed to have multiple children. I have grandchildren. I think that when you're young and you're going through being a parent the first time or the second time, or in my case, the fifth time, you think you're crazy. You can't figure out how you could possibly have that much time, how you do everything, how do you keep things clean. And then poof, it's gone. So if you're in the middle of having that crazy time in your life where you feel like, oh my gosh, I put everything away and in 2 seconds the kids have taken it all out and spread it on the floor, or they're trying to help you with the project. Enjoy that time. That's the blessed time of your life. The next biggest blessing is when you get to be a grandparent, because grandchildren are amazing. So, but I could ramble on about that forever. I don't think that's what you had me on here for. But family's doing well. We're all excited, and everybody's enjoying this time of the year. So,
Mention Angela for a moment. Tell everybody how she's doing. She's got friends that listen to the program, and she's
mhm.
awesome as well. Please talk about her.
Well, my wife and I are actually getting ready to travel. When the show is aired, we will already have been out, but we're leaving to go to Colorado for about 10 days. We're going to go up to Estes Park and do some stuff in the mountains. So I'm blessed to have a wife who is also highly intelligent. I mean, she has her doctorate degree. She is amazing, but she also likes to do things in the outdoors. So, I mean, that's the best of both for me, because she's my best friend and she's my wife, and we get to go do adventures. And so we are leaving tomorrow night, as soon as we're done here, and go have some adventures in Colorado. So that'll be stories for another show. But Angela's doing well. Um, she's loving her new job, and she's working for LCC these days and helping there in the College of Business, and she just absolutely loves helping students and working with people. So it's a great fit.
She's a she's a wonderful person. I was curious because I never asked you this before. As long as I've known you guys forever. It's like, was Angela a hunter before you guys got married, or did you turn her into a hunter? Is that a good way of saying it?
I
She
didn't turn her into a hunter,
turned
but
it. That is a terrible. That is. Can I retract that? No, I
you
can't.
can, you can, but it's still on video and it's going to play. But
But you
she
know what I'm
she
saying.
had outdoor fishing and hunting interests before
Experience.
she and I were together. I just was able to show her, the people who um, taught her things that they wanted her to know, and she learned things. But much like my experience, my dad wasn't my main person that taught me most of what I learned. I learned it myself, or I read it through Field and Stream, or I watched out Michigan Outdoors, and then I would go try it, do it wrong, have the wrong gear, go through all that stuff, and then eventually perfect and hone my outdoor skills and my bushcrafting skills, through time. And so luckily I could share a lot of those experiences with her. She did a lot of fishing. She did not steelhead fish or salmon fish. I did. She fished inland lakes more. So, I was able to show her other types of fishing. And then she had done hunting, growing up in Michigan, but I was able to show her some new things. She'd never done bow hunting, so archery hunting became a passion of hers, and over time, and she enjoys shooting her bow, and that's something that she finds interesting even when she's not hunting. It's archery in itself is a skill, and it's fun when you're out there just practicing, because it's like shooting baskets. If you shoot 10 free throws in a row, you feel good about that. Same thing with practicing with a bow and arrow. I mean, it's fun. So it's something that we do. Not right now because it's like 90 degrees out, but we enjoy doing that. So we have targets in our backyard, and we oftentimes will just go out and shoot 20 or 30 arrows or whatever the case may be, and talk and enjoy the
Having
evening,
those
watch the sunset.
having those common things to do with your spouse or significant other are critically important for quality of life. Boom, done. Okay, let me reset this thing. We're going to go to break here in a second. My man's here, Doug Resseguie, best friend. Walleye and whitetail wisdom. Called it W cubed. You like that? Walleye and whitetail wisdom. Came right from Doug. Doug always brings me such great topics because here's the thing with the hunter non hunter, everybody. I'm the non hunter of this equation. Okay. That's been proven many times. That's why Doug's here. We have fun talking about this stuff. I really enjoy the conversation. If you love the outdoors, if you love Michigan, the up north period, this is an episode you want to check out because Doug's the man. He knows it all and he will inspire you. You're listening to the Tom Mann Show. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show. Thank you, Sandy, for bringing us back. I want to thank our production staff, Mitch Anderson and Vanessa, for what they do. Mitch doing all that audio stuff, Vanessa doing all that video stuff. Really helps. Got to have the staff. Just like we have to talk about our sponsor for this segment, and our key sponsor for the radio program is Brock Fletcher and the selling team of Keller Williams Realty. Now, full disclosure, as I've said, and I try to say every time, and forgive me if I don't say it every time, but full disclosure, we have utilized Brock's services multiple times. We sold Big House Holt. We bought Little House Lansing, thanks to Mikey Deadman. Thank you, Mike, for doing that. We loved the whole process. We trusted them implicitly. They're just the best. Brock's given me such good advice. He's supported us. He's been a great, 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 great asset to us. I can't say enough about him. Here's some numbers I'd like you to check out, everybody. 517-853-6408 is the office number. Here's his cell phone number. Please use this one. If you'd like, you can text him, you can leave him a voicemail, and he will return your call, I promise you. 517-303-3262. 517-303-3262. You can go online to the selling team of Keller Williams Realty.com, kwsellingteam.com, and find what you need from the selling team. Okay. Sell your home without hassles. Find the people you can trust, like we did. You've heard me tell the stories about how he helped my neighbor, my former neighbor, I should say, Mike, and got him an extra $20,000. I like to say that story, and I've told that story many, many times because it's true. And I had no idea this was going to happen. You need people who you can trust when it comes to real estate. If you've got any questions, any ideas, anything, you send me a note, tommattshow.com. You can go listen or watch any of those episodes. There's 25 episodes on the website. Reality of Real Estate. Find that little Reality of Real Estate little tile that we have there, the little cartoon. Click on that, and away you go. Pick and choose. Pick and choose whatever you want. Just like with my guest today, Doug Resseguie, Hunter Not Hunter. Our subject matter experts, we keep all of these things in our vault so that you can go back and it can help you decide what you want to do. Like, for example, today's episode with Doug. He's our Hunter Not Hunter subject matter expert, as I've said. Doug's been on the show. This is his 13th appearance. So he's been on, and I told you a couple of titles before, but today we're talking specifically, if it's specific enough, walleye, whitetail wisdom, walleye and whitetail wisdom, W cubed. All right there, big boy. Let's start right at the top. You got your walleye wisdom. I know Saginaw Bay a little bit. I know Dr. Shingles, Mike Shingles is going to like this because he's got a place up in Eau Gray. But the Saginaw Bay, in case people don't know Michigan, describe that whole, just in case, Doug, and then just take it from there.
Well, because of the way Michigan is shaped, we have a state and we do this. I guess I need to do that for the program, but Saginaw Bay in the thumb, that bay area, it's a giant piece of water. But yeah, no, it's been a great fishery. The walleye there have flourished over the years. There has been different levels fishery wise, but the current catch level, they've increased their catch level or keep level, your bag limit, so you can actually keep 6 walleyes, where inland you need to keep fewer. The fishing there has been incredibly good. The charters that fish out of there have been doing really well. And honestly, the Saginaw Bay, ironically, when the zebra mussels were first coming into our waterways and they were seen as an invasive species, they helped clean up the Saginaw Bay. And then other fish and things were feeding on them. But the water clarity in the Saginaw Bay is partly improved because of the zebra mussels and how they were able to take things out of the environment. And Saginaw Bay actually has had mayfly hatches, which they, for many, many, many decades, they never did because the water either wasn't clean enough or couldn't sustain that. But yeah, they even have mayfly hatches now, which is another food source that's very good for the fish. But we're diverted a little bit. So Saginaw Bay, I've been out there fishing. This particular photo is not from Saginaw Bay. This is from fishing for walleyes up in the UP, Manistee Lake. But I will switch over and give you a Saginaw Bay picture. So I was just out to Saginaw Bay recently,
Now,
and
for
that
those of you listening on radio, don't be upset with us because we try to do both. We try to make people happy with this kind of stuff. So
so this is actually Saginaw Bay. We're out fishing with planer boards. We're out in the boat, pretty low chop, nice cloudy day. So I don't burn up, but I don't do sun as well. I've been exposed to sun a lot over the years, and so I do wear things like that I can pull up and shade with. I wear fabrics that are smart fabrics that have sunscreen built into them so that they're light, they breathe well. I mean, this is one of the shirts that I wear fishing a lot. It's very comfortable. So
Ooh, let me ask you that, Doug, because we've had episodes before where you've talked about equipment and clothing and all that kind of stuff. And I like, because I'm the same way, I need to protect myself from the sun, but the new gear that's out there, the really light men and women with the hooded things, very nylon. What do you think about that gear?
swear by it. I mean, high performance fabrics are the state of the art improvement for hunters. I mean, and fishing people and outdoors people. You go all the way back to the discussions we had many shows ago about Megan Hine. You can survive where you are and you can thrive with what you have, but the quality of what you have speeds or improves how much you can thrive. I mean, you can make shade, you can make shelter, but if you have high performance fabrics, you're comfortable, you have fabrics that are breathing, they're wicking away moisture, but they're also preventing moisture and or sun damage to your body. So it's really, I absolutely swear by the new gear. And we can do another show on gear specifically, but it's not uncommon to see me wearing a long sleeve. Like this is American Fish and Tackle Company, which is just a brand that's out there. I mean, I use Columbia. I'm not brand specific and I'm not sponsored by anyone in particular. So I wear what I like. I wear what feels good. And we've talked a lot about if you've got families, especially when I was raising five kids, it's one thing if you're an individual and you want to go buy the very best stuff on the market, but repeat that 5 times, that may not be in your price range. So use the thrift stores, talk to people, ask for people, go on and ask if anybody has gear that their kids have grown out of or things like that, because you want to get the right gear for people so that they have what they need. Sun and wind protection is big if you're out on the bay.
Let me
Um,
reset this thing, everybody, because I've got it. We're coming up on break here. And I'm making notes here on thrifty outdoor gear with Doug Resseguie. We'll talk about all that kind of stuff because, again, yeah, this stuff gets expensive, and we were trying to save people money any way that we can. Today's episode is titled Walleye and Whitetail Wisdom, W cubed. Doug and I have known each other for many years. He's been on the show. This is his 13th visit. We're talking specifically today about doing the deep dive into walleye. We're going to talk about that because I need to know more about the walleye and what's so special about the walleye species. Get the latest on Lake Michigan salmon action. We'll talk about that throughout the show coming up, and look ahead to the fall time for deer, bear, and elk with he's the man. He is Hunter of the Hunter Non-Hunter team. I'm the non-hunter. And if you're hearing hunter, it must be Doug. Walleye and whitetail wisdom, W cube. This is the Tom Matt Show. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show. My guests are really good guests. They've been here a while, like a Doug Resseguie, my guest today, Hunter Non-Hunter, Walleye and Whitetail Wisdom. When my guest is saying, let's spin back to the topic because we've got a lot to cover, that is what I love. It's like wanting to take care of the show and take care of our listeners. That's my boy, Doug Resseguie. He's the man. All right, so let's get back to it. Why walleye is a prize catch in Michigan? Got him a little bit sidetracked. Sorry about that. I'm going to let Doug talk about this and go through because he's got a lot of really great points here. Again, thinking about Saginaw Bay, Lake Michigan salmon, and the fall hunting. But let's finish this thread of the walleye and Saginaw Bay. Go right ahead, Doug.
I want to answer one of your questions. And by the way, that is a Saginaw Bay walleye behind me. I caught that last week. So I was trying to grab some recent photos. As a matter of fact, this is my favorite fishing shirt, which I'm wearing there, and my favorite hat. So there you go. That's as authentic as you can be. But the reason that walleye are highly desired, first of all, they are delicious. They are one of the best eating fish. Perch and walleye are known. Trout obviously is known. Depending on people's choice of food, salmon is also known in the Great Lakes states. In our state, those are the best eating fish. There's other fish you can eat, panfish, you can eat crappie, you can eat other species. But when you talk about top choices, walleye is one of our best fish. It's also a difficult fish to catch. So the challenge of catching walleye is what oftentimes draws people in.
Hmm.
When I was young, all I wanted to catch was giant northern pike. They have giant teeth, they're massive, just the massiveness of them and things. I've caught muskie before. Muskie are known to be, what's the thing they say, 1,000 casts for a fish if you're casting because they are difficult to catch. But yeah, right in the top choices. So that's why it's a prize fish. Hard to catch. It's definitely a predator fish, and they are delicious. So that the combination of all that is what makes them a prize game fish. So going back to catching techniques, recently I was on the Saginaw Bay. I have trolled body baits out there, so some real quick things on techniques. If you're watching charter boats and you're watching a lot of the charters are running body baits because it's faster than changing out meat harnesses, and they can run faster. They can basically produce fish for their clients faster, but you're
Well,
running at faster speeds.
can I stop you for just a second there and explain what that I have no idea what that is. It's like
What is?
body baits.
Yeah. The
What is
people
that?
listening will understand, but essentially artificial lures.
Oh,
Specifically right now, what's been working really well is Berkeley flicker shads, 5, 7, 9. We were running sevens. We're running about 2.5 miles an hour to 2.7 miles an hour, getting a lot of what we would call response strikes because the bait's going fast enough. If you're running by a school of fish or you're running by fish that are either laying on the bottom or they're not feeding, but they will respond. So run a little bit faster on your speeds if you're not picking up fish on the body baits. If you are using trolling baits with your planer boards or without planer boards. You need to be running about 100 foot of line. If you're running that 100 foot of line and you're running that out, say 10-pound test at that speed, you're going to be right in the feeding zone column wise for depth because a lot of these fish right now, with it being this time of the year, catching fish down around 19 foot. They are out deeper, but the fish we were targeting were in that 15, 17, 19 foot range, and we were fishing east of the shipping channel. There's been a lot of activity in that inner bay and out on the bar. We haven't had to run deep for fish lately. That might change. This heat might drive them down, but there's a lot of minnows in the bay right now. So that's keeping the fish in feeding. Been really productive. We've caught a lot of fish, which means we've ate really well. So hopefully people get a chance to get out there and do that. Again, you can use crawler harnesses if you're running crawler harnesses, which we have. You're running slower. You want to think about how to get them suspended in the vertical column because not just keeping them right on the bottom. So you'll want to think about that a little bit, whether you use a bottom bouncer or whether you're going to use a drop weight. But think about how to get your bait into the feeding zone. The goal and the thing that most fishermen have to remember is that fish don't feed down, they feed up. Their eyes are not on the bottom of their body, they're on their top. So they're looking out and up. So if you're below them, they're not going down for it. So you gotta stay at the water column where the fish are. And nowadays with the depth finders and the technology in the boats, you should be seeing marks where there are fish in the either below the boat or on your side scan. So that's the walleye stuff for Saginaw Bay. And I'm not sure where we're at, Tom, if we can jump on to Lake Michigan salmon or if we need to.
hold on just a second. Let me hold on there, Speedy Gonzalez. Let me jump in here for the non-hunter portion of the hunter. That was great for the fishing walleye. Awesome. Telling me about, body baits and sorry to sound like adult, everybody, but I'm adult. When it comes to outdoor stuff, if it doesn't have a ball with it, I probably don't know diddly crap. And so it's
Okay.
like when
What's
it
your
comes
question?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a question, and it's I find it fascinating. So yes, let's move on to the next part of this very, very good interview with my buddy Doug Resseguie, Salmon Sensation Lake, Michigan. So you put a lot of time into your notes, and I really appreciate how much effort you put into this, Doug. This is very well done. Thank you for that. Salmon Sensation Lake, Michigan. I don't want to deviate too much from your script, even though we don't run a script, but it's like the
We have an
points are
outline.
valid.
Yeah.
They're so good. I mean, it's like I hope people are learning like I'm learning. Go ahead, please.
Well, for salmon fishing, I grew up in Michigan, so I fished both Lake Huron and Lake Michigan and Lake Superior and Lake Erie. Didn't really fish Lake Ontario much, but my main salmon fisheries have always been the east and west. Um, Many years ago, it was about equal. East and west were about the same in charters. I ran out of Oscoda and Alpena as much as I ran out of Frankfurt and Ludington and Manistee. Today, if you're in the East Lake Huron, you're primarily going to be after walleye and lake trout. The salmon numbers are not as strong. If you're after kings, which are the granddaddy of Michigan salmon. I mean, that's what everybody wants is a 30-pound king or beyond. Those fish are going to be found in Lake Michigan, primarily if you're on this side. And the three ports that I fish the most are Manistee, Frankfurt, and Ludington. It doesn't mean I don't have friends and other people that fish Benton Harbor, St. Joe, and those other South ports. I just don't go down there. So what I can tell you about is what I'm seeing. I also love to fish the salmon in the rivers. You have until September 1st to fish in the rivers. So we're going to be coming into August here. August is a really fun time if you want to fish kings in the Manistee, Little Manistee, Betsy, Pere Marquette, any of those rivers, you can get in there. If you've never latched onto a 30 or 40-inch fish that's 20 plus pounds that has been 0% tired in a small river in shallow water, you just don't know what you're missing because you grab, I fish with a 12 foot. My favorite rod is my 12-foot Browning, but I've got an Orvis fly rod now that's equipped to handle salmon. And if you've never grabbed on to had a salmon pick up your fly or pick up your spawn bag, and when you set the hook, you know that you got a hold of a dragster. I mean, that fish will take off and jump out of the water and go under log piles, and it is really amazing. Even if you're not a fisherman and you don't want to fish for them, you should get around the lake and or rivers, watch these fish. They are magnificent to see. One of the best viewing areas in the state, in my opinion, is the Weir, up there on the Little Manistee River. So look up the Weir. It's a known area. There's a parking area. You can go in there, and there's a protected zone 300 feet from the weir. So the fish, once they get up there, nobody can fish for them. And you will just see schools of these incredibly large fish. If you're in Lansing, we do have cohos that will go in the fish ladder. We do have fish that will make it up the river. This year, I haven't checked downriver at all the fish ladders, but they have to travel a long way to get to Lansing.
I'm hearing music, so I got to stop here. Doug Resseguie's here. Walleye and Whitetail Wisdom, W Cube, talking about salmon sensation. This is the Tom Matt Show. Welcome back, everybody, to the Tom Matt Show. Last segment of this episode, always the fun time. Typically, you get this on our WKR feed, some of our other radio stations, but always on the podcast. So if you miss any of the episodes, any of the segments of the episodes, excuse me, go back to the podcast and get that, because on a lot of our radio stations, we only give you the first four segments of the radio program. That's kind of how it works in the world. Remember, tommattshow.com is where you can reach out to us. If you're interested in sponsoring the program, let us know. We're entertaining that. It has to be a good fit for you and for us, and it's pretty reasonable. So hit us up on that. A couple of slots open for doing those kinds of things. You'd be surprised what kind of outreach we can get and effectiveness. Today, Doug Resseguie is here, hunter non-hunter, walleye and whitetail wisdom, W cubed, love it. going to get into the fall hunting opportunities and forecast with our subject matter expert, our SME as they call them. Doug, what's on the plate for this fall coming up? And typically the fall season in the Midwest, because as you know, these shows are evergreen and people may pick this up a year from now. So let's talk about the generalities that go along with fall hunting opportunities in the Midwest.
Well, so the a lot of people, the most anticipated hunt coming up will be the deer season. And there are so many seasons I can't actually say them all by memory anymore because we have an archery season, we have the youth season, we have a liberty hunt season, we have a black powder, we have a firearm. So there's a lot of different hunting, but hunting will start kicking off here. Um, by the end of August, in the beginning of September. The main archery season will take place starting in October 1st through the end of the year. So it's going to be picking up. Right now, what normally is happening is people are getting ready to hunt. People are looking for where they're going to hunt. They may be setting up and clearing their hunting areas, making sure that the storms that have come through haven't destroyed their hunting shelter or knock their tree down that they normally hunt in. So there's a lot of preseason work going on right now. People will be putting their stands out, so stand placement. They'll be scouting, looking for areas, putting out trail cameras. The deer are they have horns, they're developing horns, they're still in velvet, but it's pretty easy to start to see what caliber of animal that it's going to be in the fall. They'll start polishing their horns here pretty soon, but they're still growing. So, if you see something that's pretty wide and already got a bunch of points, people that are hunting are like, yeah, that's going to be a good buck. So that's mainly what people are doing. There are still people who are working on food plots or adding plants. We've pretty much done all of our maintenance early in the spring. We do some summer mowing, and we'll do some fall plants if we're going to do rye or greenery or bio food that we want to till under and let it be there in the winter, for the animals once there's snow on. So that's kind of what's happening right now. We're in preseason prep. The main thing to remember is this is also the time that if you have friends or people who are not prepared, this is a time to gather equipment, get them into hunter safety classes so that they can get their licenses and go through their training. Make sure they're reviewing if they're going out of state to hunt. Some people will be traveling this year. They might be visiting another state. Although hunting is similar, the requirements in Ohio and Illinois, Indiana, wherever you're at, they are slightly different. So you're going to want to check the regulations for where you're going. I will be going to Illinois this year. I'll be down in Illinois in November and again in December. So I'll be down there for an archery hunt, and then a muzzleloader hunt or black powder hunt. I like the black powder season. So I'll be down there again, hunting with Aaron Walker's group and Whitetail buck
Now, let me
us.
ask, can I ask you a question real quick on this preseason prep stuff? How
Yeah.
important is it for successful hunters to establish this routine of the preseason prep? Because it sounds like there's a lot that goes into it. You were mentioning all kinds of plants and setup and all kinds of trail cams and everything. And it's like, I had no idea that it was that involved. It must take some serious time. And then
So
how do you find your spots?
So first of all, it depends on two things. Well, I say depends on. There's a couple of things that come into factors. You do not have to do all the prep. You could be really lucky. Somebody could take you to a pre-established spot, or you could just go out to a state land spot and stumble into a good fortune and end up getting a really nice animal on your first time out. So beginner's luck kind of situation. If you are a ongoing hunter or a person who fishes, we will all tell you that when the season is over and you're longing to be connected, much like basketball fans are looking at basketball in the off season or looking at who's in the draft. So this is the activities that also keep people connected to the passion that they have for that sport or that activity. Um, you know, so the prep is partly to be prepared, but it's also sometimes going through your gear. I mean, I have a lot of hunting gear, and my wife, who's great logistically, has developed systems so that it's easier for me to make sure that I have what I need. And I say that because I have probably 5 different backpacks that I carry. Every one of my backpacks have a hunting knife and they have fire starters and things, but certain backpacks need to go to certain areas because I need different fall protection gear if I'm hunting in a tree versus hunting on the ground. And so she has helped me develop some packing lists that make it really easy. And I leave them on my backpack and I go take my stuff out of my backpack because during the year I might have needed something. I might have grabbed it and forgot to put it back, which I, as a guy, can do that sometimes. Then I quickly go through my checklist for my pre-hunt. I'm like, ooh, I need to make sure I get that. Or I used that last muzzleloader season. I didn't put it in my archery bag, which I don't need the muzzleloader bag till December, but I'm going to need the archery bag, October 1st. So um, it is really part of the passion of what you do. So if you're a mechanic or you're a NASCAR person, you know when the race season is, but you know when the off season is, and you're probably still following something or planning something or tweaking on something in the off season. And that's part of the preseason work.
I
It's just
like what
keeping
you said
people's
about,
passion.
I love what you said, Doug. Doug Rescue's our guest today, everybody. Walleye, whitetail, wisdom, W cubed, as we're calling this one. I love what you're saying about the staying connected to
Mhm.
your sport and doing the prep work. Now, see that resonates with my head. I get that. That's all of the reps that you got to put in.
Reps, exactly. And that's same thing I heard you earlier in the show. I talked about my wife and I going out and shooting our bows.
Yep.
One of the things I don't want to lose sight of time wise is I want to get to hunting reminders and ethics. And one of the things in there, so I'm just going to jump forward for a minute. One, hunter safety courses. If you're traveling out of state, you make sure you have to have a copy of your hunter safety card. For some states, it's required in Wyoming if you're hunting to have it on your person. Some other states require that. So even if you have a valid license, even if you have the card and you're hunting and a Department of Wildlife officer asks you to present your hunter safety card, if you don't, you can get a ticket. Doesn't mean that you didn't have a valid license. It doesn't mean you don't have a card, but it's a requirement. So make sure you're reading your regs and getting your stuff packed. Michigan will let you print or request a duplicate. I have a duplicate in every one of my backpacks because I don't want to forget it. And so just request a duplicate card and put it in with your stuff. Also, make sure that in your backpacks, you're keeping a pen so that you can write on and sign licenses. Some states require you sign the license before you even move the animal. And some, I would recommend that if you're not sure, don't even take your hunting photos without tagging your animal because some states are really rigid. And a lot of, if you read, more and more DNR groups are going to Facebook and getting people for a ticket for a social media post saying, well, clearly you shot this animal, you took a picture of it and you put it in your truck, but you didn't tag it, and it says it must be tagged before you move it, so therefore we're giving you a ticket, which is completely legit. But I'm saying just be mindful of your regulations so that you're not missing something. Carry zip ties, carry a way to affix your tags to your game, read your regulations so that, because they're different in every state.
You got
Ethics,
have to go here, man. You want to get this thing wrapped up
yes.
and you
So
take it.
ethics, it's all about making sure you're practicing with your weapons, with your bow, or if you're using fishing gear, make sure that it's not hurting the fish. So make sure that you've got your stuff set up right. Check your regulations and make sure that if you're returning fish to the water that you do it quickly. It's really hot out, don't keep them out. You can, even though you release them, they could die. So just be really mindful of that, because if you're not keeping the animal or you're not keeping the fish, you want to make sure that you're supporting and sustaining the wildlife. So those are my main points. So have good ethics, get trained, continue in the off season, do the reps, as Tom said. So that's my final statement.
Do the reps, do the reps, do the reps. Doug, we got 30 seconds to go. Thank you so much for being with us. You want to say goodbye to everybody, and then
Yeah,
we're out.
I'll say goodbye. And I forgot to talk about bear hunting and elk hunting. Those are two other really great opportunities for a future show.
We'll do that next time because we love having Doug on. He's on multiple times a year because Hunter Non Hunter is a very, very popular show. That's why Doug has been on this show now, his 13th visit, and I appreciate him very much. Love him dearly. He's a great friend. He's a very much a conservationist, and he believes in what he's talking about here. So Doug Resseguie, he is an avid outdoorsman who loves hunting, fishing, camping, and being outdoors. He's a great guy. He's very smart. Bachelor in Science, Organizational Development, MBA in Strategic Leadership. Great teacher. Finishing his Doctor of Education in Organizational Leadership. Married, father of 5 children, multiple grandchildren. He's doing it all, and he's got a wonderful wife, Angela. If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you through our guests like a Doug Resseguie. Sponsorships are available, as I mentioned, if there's a fit. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. Thank you again to my good friend Doug Resseguie, Sandy, Craig, Brock Fletcher, Stacy Robinson. We'll talk to everybody next week. Have a great week, everybody. Go out and ignite your life. Good day now. Remember, the Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life. And last, I want to say thank you to Mitch Anderson and Vanessa, our production team. We are out. Doug Resseguie he's such a great guy. I cannot say enough about him. He's just amazing. And so love having him on here. Walleye and Whitetail wisdom. Let me tell you, Doug brings he is so, again, organized. He's so knowledgeable, and he brings the best notes ever, and his storytelling is stupendous. So with that, I want to say thank you so much to Doug Resseguie and everyone else who helps support the show, our listeners, our sponsors, especially. Please support our sponsors. Without them, we can't do this just show. That's it. That's all there is to it. So please support our sponsors. Selling team of Keller Williams Realty, Brock Fletcher, Stacy Robinson, all of them, Mike Dedman, the whole crew over there, love them so much. And again, thank you to Doug Resseguie and Angela for what they do. They're great people, and we love them dearly. Thank you, everybody. I'm Papa Tom. This has been the Tom Matt Show. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Peace out. Love y'all.